Have you ever woken up feeling like your body just doesn't move the way it used to? Maybe your knees feel tight, your fingers are stiff, or your joints ache for no clear reason. If you're over 40, you're not imagining it. Inflammation and arthritis begin to creep in quietly, robbing us of comfort, flexibility, and energy. Most people think the only solution is to live with the pain or depend on endless pills. But what if I told you the real answer could be sitting right in your kitchen, not in a medicine bottle? Today, I'm going to share 3 simple, plant-based foods that research and my decades of medical experience have proven can naturally soothe joint pain, reduce inflammation, and even help you feel years younger. Stick with me, because what you'll discover could change the way you age, starting with your very next meal. Let's start with something so humble, yet so powerful, that it often gets overlooked on grocery shelves: lentils. Lentils might not have the glamorous image of superfoods like avocado or kale splashed across wellness magazines, but don't let their simplicity fool you. Inside these tiny legumes lies an extraordinary potential to transform the health of your joints, your muscles, and even your overall vitality, especially as you age. From a medical standpoint, lentils offer something almost no prescription drug can: multi-targeted support. They don't just mask pain, they work to heal the underlying issues that cause joint stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Let's unpack why. As we age, maintaining muscle mass becomes critical to supporting our joints. Every pound of muscle you lose puts additional pressure on your bones, ligaments, and tendons. That's why protein intake is so crucial. But here's the catch. Traditional protein sources like red meat, while rich in protein, are often inflammatory. Many of my patients, eager to boost their strength, unknowingly worsen their arthritis symptoms by over-relying on red meat. It's a vicious cycle. Eat meat for muscle, suffer more inflammation, need more medication, feel weaker. That's where lentils shine. Unlike meat, lentils are rich in high-quality plant-based protein without the inflammatory downside. They help repair and maintain muscle tissue, especially the muscles that stabilize joints, hips, knees, shoulders, giving you better mobility without feeding the fire of chronic inflammation. The magnesium miracle. Beyond protein, lentils are an abundant source of magnesium, a mineral many Americans over 40 are unknowingly deficient in. Magnesium is critical because it acts as the body's natural muscle relaxant. It eases nerve irritation, reduces muscle cramping, and importantly, helps modulate inflammatory responses. In fact, several clinical studies have linked low magnesium levels with higher levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, one of the key markers of inflammation in the body. When I think back to one particular patient, Mr. Thompson, a retired teacher in his late 60s, I remember how he struggled with intense morning stiffness. Stretching exercises barely helped. Once we corrected his magnesium levels, largely by incorporating foods like lentils into his diet, his mobility improved dramatically within 3 months. He called it getting a second lease on my mornings. It wasn't a magic pill. It was simple nutrition consistently applied. Potassium, the silent joint defender. Another overlooked nutrient lentils provide in abundance is potassium. Why does potassium matter for arthritis? Inflammation isn't just about immune cells, it's also about fluid balance in your tissues. High salt intake, which is rampant in processed foods, promotes water retention and swelling. Swollen joints are painful joints. Potassium helps counterbalance sodium, flushing excess salt from your body, reducing bloating, and indirectly easing joint pressure. It's like giving your joints breathing room. If you've ever noticed that your hands, feet, or knees feel puffier after a salty meal, that's your body telling you it needs more potassium to restore balance. Lentils are a naturally low sodium, high potassium choice, exactly the combination your joints crave. Fiber for stable blood sugar and calm inflammation. Another secret weapon hidden in lentils? Dietary fiber. Fiber does much more than aid digestion. It plays a profound role in controlling blood sugar spikes, and here's why that matters for joint health. Unstable blood sugar fuels systemic inflammation. When blood sugar spikes, your body releases inflammatory cytokines, tiny molecular messengers that trigger more pain, more swelling, and more stiffness in your joints. Incorporating high-fiber foods like lentils into meals smooths out these sugar surges, keeping inflammatory processes in check. Over time, this adds up to less pain, better energy levels, and even healthier skin, something my patients deeply appreciate as they seek not just to live longer, but to live better. Finally, lentils provide an impressive dose of folate, vitamin B9. Folate helps lower levels of homocysteine, a compound that, when elevated, can damage blood vessels and promote inflammation, both major problems for arthritis sufferers. By keeping homocysteine in check, lentils support not just joint health, but cardiovascular health too. It's a whole-body approach, the kind modern medicine increasingly recognizes as vital to true healing. How to start with lentils? Here's the beauty. Lentils are ridiculously easy to incorporate. Toss cooked lentils into salads or grain bowls. Blend them into soups and stews for extra protein and texture. Mix them with olive oil, garlic, and lemon for a refreshing side dish. Try spiced lentil curries with anti-inflammatory ingredients like turmeric and ginger. And if you're worried about cooking time, lentils cook quickly, no overnight soaking needed. Simply rinse, simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes, and they're ready. Start by aiming to include lentils twice a week. Observe how your body feels over time. You might just notice yourself moving easier, waking up less stiff, and feeling younger from the inside out. Let me tell you about Martha, one of my most inspiring patients. At 62, she was skeptical about changing her diet. Years of stiffness had conditioned her to believe that aging meant inevitable decline. But she agreed to try something simple, adding lentils to her diet 3 times a week. We started easy, a lentil soup with turmeric and spinach, a hearty lentil salad with lemon vinaigrette, and once, even a spiced lentil and vegetable stew. Within 6 weeks, her morning swelling decreased. By 3 months, she reported that she could kneel down in her garden again, something she hadn't done in nearly 5 years. Her secret? It wasn't just lentils, it was the consistency of tiny, positive changes that rewired her body's inflammation response. Martha's journey reminds me, and should remind all of us, that powerful change rarely comes from radical action. It comes from simple, steady habits. 2. Chickpeas. When it comes to fighting arthritis, muscle mass is non-negotiable. Muscles act like shock absorbers for your joints, helping distribute weight and reduce direct pressure on vulnerable areas like knees, hips, and wrists. Here's the problem. As we age, sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle mass, accelerates. Without enough high-quality protein, muscles weaken, joints bear more burden, and pain inevitably worsens. Chickpeas step in as a plant-based protein powerhouse. Unlike red meat, which can introduce saturated fats and inflammatory compounds into the body, chickpeas offer clean, anti-inflammatory protein that supports muscle maintenance without flaring up arthritis symptoms. I've seen dozens of patients thrive simply by swapping a few servings of processed meat each week for chickpea-based meals. It's a small dietary pivot with a massive payoff. Polyphenol, tiny molecules, giant impact. If there's a true secret weapon in chickpeas, it's their rich supply of polyphenol, natural plant compounds that act as antioxidants in the body. Here's why that matters. Chronic joint inflammation isn't just a mechanical issue, it's a battle happening at the cellular level. Free radicals, unstable molecules produced by stress, poor diet, and environmental toxins, damage cells and accelerate joint degeneration. Polyphenol neutralize these free radicals. They act like microscopic bodyguards, shielding your cells from oxidative damage and calming inflammatory cascades before they wreak havoc on your joints. Several studies now link higher polyphenol intake with lower markers of inflammation and better arthritis outcomes, a scientific confirmation of what traditional diets around the world have practiced for centuries. Vitamin C and collagen connection. Chickpeas aren't just a source of muscle-friendly protein and antioxidant polyphenol, they're also rich in vitamin C. And vitamin C isn't just important during flu season. It plays a critical role in collagen production. Collagen is the structural protein that cushions your joints, keeps tendons flexible, and prevents that brittle, creaky feeling that so often accompanies aging. When collagen levels drop, as they naturally do after 40, joints lose their shock-absorbing padding and become vulnerable to wear and tear. By providing a natural source of vitamin C, chickpeas help your body rebuild and maintain its collagen armor, offering protection that no topical cream or supplement can match alone. The magnesium factor. If you recall from our discussion about lentils, magnesium is crucial for arthritis management, and guess what? Chickpeas are another rich source. Magnesium helps regulate muscle relaxation, nerve function, and inflammatory responses. It's the mineral that tells your muscles to release tension and your immune system to cool down inflammatory fires. One patient of mine, Mr. Ellis, in his early 70s, used to suffer from persistent back and hip stiffness. Despite physical therapy and medication, he made little progress until we ran a simple test and found his magnesium levels were severely depleted. Adding magnesium-rich foods, including chickpeas, to his diet proved to be a turning point. Over 6 months, his range of motion improved, and he reported fewer pain flares without increasing medication doses. Sometimes, the solutions we overlook are the ones our bodies need most. Fiber, the unsung champion of inflammation control. Chickpeas also bring a heavy dose of soluble fiber to the table, and fiber is a critical, often neglected, part of inflammation management. Soluble fiber helps regulate blood sugar levels by slowing down the absorption of sugars into the bloodstream. This matters because blood sugar spikes drive inflammation. Every time your blood sugar rises rapidly, from eating processed carbs or sugary foods, your body releases inflammatory cytokines. These molecules not only increase the risk of diabetes and heart disease, but also worsen arthritis symptoms. By stabilizing blood sugar, fiber from chickpeas lowers systemic inflammation and promotes a healthier, more resilient internal environment. It's a perfect example of how what's good for your heart is also good for your joints. Simple ways to add chickpeas to your life. If you're ready to start experiencing the benefits yourself, here are easy ways to include chickpeas. Roast them with olive oil and your favorite spices for a crunchy snack. Blend them into creamy hummus with lemon, tahini, and garlic. Toss them into grain bowls with quinoa, spinach, and sweet potatoes. Add them to stews, curries, and soups for extra fiber and protein. Bake with chickpea flour to make gluten-free pancakes, muffins, or cookies. And here's a little secret from my own kitchen. Chickpeas are amazing when sautéed quickly with turmeric, black pepper, and a splash of coconut milk. A 10-minute arthritis-friendly meal that even picky eaters love. Carlos, a 58-year-old construction manager, came to see me frustrated and tired. Years of heavy lifting had taken a toll on his knees and wrists. Morning stiffness made getting ready for work a daily struggle. Like many hardworking Americans, Carlos grew up on meat-centric meals and was skeptical about plant-based eating. But after some coaching, he agreed to small steps, adding hummus to his lunch wraps, sprinkling roasted chickpeas on salads, and swapping one beef dinner a week for a hearty chickpea stew. Within 3 months, his inflammation markers dropped. Within 6, he reported 50% less morning stiffness. Even more importantly, Carlos felt empowered, realizing he had the ability to fight back against aging with every meal he chose. His story is proof that resilience isn't about perfection. It's about small, consistent upgrades. 3. Tofu. Unlike many plant foods, tofu is made from soybeans, which are a complete protein source. This means tofu contains all 9 essential amino acids your body needs to repair muscles, build connective tissue, and maintain strong, mobile joints. Why is this important? As we age, joints endure more wear and tear, cartilage thins, muscles weaken, bones lose density. Supporting the muscle groups around joints becomes critical for preserving mobility and preventing falls or injuries. With tofu, you get muscle rebuilding support without the cholesterol, saturated fat, or inflammatory residues often found in red or processed meats. I tell my patients this simple truth: the stronger your muscles, the lighter your joints feel. Tofu helps you build that strength naturally, meal by meal. Omega-3 fatty acids, fighting inflammation from within. Here's a benefit many people don't realize. Tofu is a plant-based source of omega-3 fatty acids. Most people think omega-3s only come from fatty fish like salmon. But soy products, especially minimally processed ones like tofu, provide alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant omega-3. Omega-3s are critical inflammation fighters. They help reduce the production of inflammatory molecules, lower joint swelling, and ease stiffness. Several major studies have shown that people with higher omega-3 intake experience less joint tenderness and better physical function. Adding tofu to your meals gives you a gentle, steady supply of omega-3s, exactly what your body needs to calm the fires of arthritis. When we talk about joint health, we can't just focus on muscles and cartilage. Bones are the unsung heroes, and as you age, bone density naturally declines. Enter tofu. Once again, many high-quality tofu brands in the U.S. are fortified with calcium and vitamin D, 2 nutrients absolutely essential for maintaining bone strength and preventing fractures. Without enough calcium and vitamin D, bones become brittle, osteoporosis. Joints lose the solid foundation they depend on. The risk of falls and injuries skyrockets. If you're lactose intolerant, vegan, or simply looking to reduce dairy, tofu offers a clean, effective alternative for building bone resilience. Every time you add tofu to your plate, you're investing in the stability of your entire skeletal system. Soy-based foods like tofu contain isoflavones, plant compounds that mimic estrogen's beneficial effects in the body without the risks associated with synthetic hormones. Research shows that isoflavones may help reduce joint inflammation, protect cartilage from degeneration, improve joint flexibility, especially in women post-menopause. One clinical trial even found that women with rheumatoid arthritis who consumed more soy isoflavones reported significantly reduced pain and morning stiffness compared to those who didn't. Isoflavones are nature's way of giving your joints a little extra love, and tofu is one of the richest, safest sources. Simple ways to add tofu to your routine. If you're new to tofu, here are a few easy starting points. Stir-fry it with colorful veggies and a splash of sesame oil. Bake it after marinating for crispiness outside and tenderness inside. Scramble it with turmeric and veggies as a hearty breakfast. Blend silken tofu into smoothies, puddings, or dips. Grill tofu steaks for a satisfying main dish with a smoky flavor. Tip: always press extra firm tofu before cooking. It removes water and helps it absorb marinades better. The versatility of tofu means it can fit any cuisine, any meal, any flavor you enjoy. Linda, a 63-year-old yoga enthusiast, came to me frustrated. Despite staying active, she struggled with nagging shoulder and wrist pain that just wouldn't go away. She was wary of prescription medications and open to natural solutions, but skeptical when I first suggested tofu. "It's too bland," she said, laughing. I smiled and told her, "Give it 2 weeks. You're not eating tofu, you're eating what you flavor it with." Linda agreed to try. Bake tofu cubes marinated in tamari, ginger, and garlic. Tofu scramble with turmeric for breakfast. Silken tofu blended into smoothies with berries and spinach. Within 6 weeks, her wrist stiffness was noticeably better. By 3 months, she reported fewer post-workout aches and better flexibility in her yoga practice. And the best part? She discovered that tofu was not bland. It was a blank canvas for creating delicious, healing meals. Linda's success reminds us, it's not about perfection. It's about being open to small changes that stack up into massive improvements over time. How often should you eat tofu? I recommend incorporating tofu into meals 2 to 4 times a week. If you're worried about soy intake, rest assured, moderate consumption, 1 to 2 servings daily, has been shown to be safe and beneficial for most adults, including those concerned about breast cancer or thyroid issues, especially when part of a balanced diet. As always, organic or non-GMO tofu is preferable if available. If there's one truth I've learned after decades of medicine, it's this: aging is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Your joints, your muscles, your bones, they all respond to the choices you make day after day, meal after meal. Aging doesn't have to mean surrendering to pain or stiffness. It can mean strength, vitality, and freedom if you nourish your body with the right building blocks. Today, we explored 3 powerful plant-based allies: lentils, chickpeas, and tofu, humble foods with extraordinary healing potential. Each offers a unique set of nutrients that fight inflammation, rebuild strength, and shield your joints from the slow wear of time. But here's the deeper lesson. It's not about doing something massive overnight. It's about the quiet, consistent actions, swapping a processed meal for a lentil stew, adding chickpeas to your salad, sautéing tofu instead of reaching for red meat, that over weeks, months, and years create a foundation of resilience inside you. Think about it this way. Every bite you take is either writing a prescription for greater pain or writing a prescription for greater strength. You don't need to change everything. Start small. Stay steady. Trust the process. Because the future version of yourself, the one climbing stairs effortlessly, playing with grandkids, enjoying long walks under the sun, will be built by the tiny decisions you make today. And remember, true medicine isn't always found in a bottle. Sometimes, it's found on your plate, simple, whole, and powerful. Your body has the wisdom to heal. Your role is to give it the tools. Here's to joints that move freely, bodies that age gracefully, and lives lived fully, one meal, one choice, one day at a time.